Hello, humans, and welcome to the Felix Ben Show. I am your host, Felix, and this is a brand new podcast experiment where I bring you in-depth conversations with the world's best Latin dance artists, teachers, and innovators who have helped impact the industry as we know it all around the world, and who can hopefully impact your life and your experience right now by talking directly into your ear. In this episode 5 of the Felix Ben Show, I interview the Mambo legend, Adolfo Indacochea. Adolfo needs no formal introduction. He is truly of legendary status and has been a huge influence in spreading the popularity of Mambo around the world. He is a purist and has stuck to his passion for a long time. We talk about his relationship with Eddie Torres, his work ethic, his grueling travel and training schedule, his commitment to his art, his views on training and learning as a student, current status of social dancing, and much more. Adolfo is the Mambo idol of many young dancers today, and he's also talks about his own journey of growth from an up-and-coming young dancer to where he is today. So now, please enjoy this in-depth look into the life and ideas of Adolfo Indacochea. Adolfo Indacochea, welcome to the Felix Ben Show. I'm super happy to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm happy to be here and, looking forward to this podcast.
And I guess maybe first we just acknowledge, all the difficult times going on around the world for a lot of people. And, I'd love to hear, how are you doing? You're in New York. How has your time been managing all this?
I think like you say, it's a difficult time for everybody, but it's a time where you need to let's say fight back, right? Because you cannot just, like a lot of people is doing, I think it's a mistake, just sit and wait for it to pass and wait for being helped for the government or something, or just complain about what's going on. It's a new reality, and we need to just fight back and keep going on with our lives. So we need to find ways to reinvent ourselves. And I think it's people like myself that a lot of people look up to. We need to show that we keep going forward, and that we can always find a way to move forward. And we need to send that message to everybody, so we go forward as a community.
And so on that, how are you spending your time at the moment? Without the ability to perform and social dance and teach, in real life, how are you spending your days?
Well, actually, yes, debut a new number on Friday. I don't know if you probably didn't see the publicity on social media, but I just debut a new number. I did it live, and it's on my Facebook page. We did it on Friday, so I keep dancing, I keep training every day, and now I throw myself into the online lessons, and we built a platform, and we have a Mambo Virtual Academy, and that's where we teach. And I've got Tanya, Lorenita, Meris, Marco, and Eric teaching with me. So that's how I spend my days, taking care of my business.
That's fantastic.
And of course, my beautiful daughter that was born April the 3rd. So, that's what we're doing now. I actually, it's nice to have time to spend with her every day.
Well, that's right. I was going to ask you that too, but just quickly, with your academy, is it in English? Is it in Spanish?
In English. It's in English. Yes. MamboVirtualAcademy.com.
Fantastic. And we'll link to that as well, so everyone's got the details.
Thank you.
MamboVirtualAcademy.com. Fantastic. And so congratulations on the birth of your daughter.
Thanks.
How is that going?
It's great. Now she just realized that when she cries, she gets what she wants. So, it's like having
real life.
Alarm from the iPhone, when she starts crying, oh my gosh, she's great. She has such a deep voice, but, it's beautiful. And, now start to looking at everything. So, it's very nice to mostly to have the time to be around, otherwise I probably would be traveling all weekend long,
Yeah. Look, and I've got a lot of questions and a lot of areas that I want to get to, but I might just start, a little bit at the beginning of your salsa career. So I understand in 2003, you saw Eddie Torres dancers perform in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the first time you discovered Mambo? And is that kind of where your Mambo passion started? Just talk through how you sort of started out on this Mambo journey.
Actually, I started in Mexico. Learn how to dance salsa one. I was dancing salsa one with my teacher's name is Adrian Arellano. He's a great Mexican dancer. He's contemporary with me. He has my age. He still dances. He still teaches. And I moved to Mexico to do my university over there. And my roommate thought, well, let's go take lessons of salsa. And listen, I'm Peruvian. Like salsa, you don't learn it. That's you're born with that. Either you're born with it or you have it or not. It's flavor. It's in your blood.
I know that story.
I didn't want to go, and then finally he took me to the class, and Adrian just came back from Puerto Rico Salsa Congress, and he brought. I remember a VHS from Josin India and Rogelio Moreno. And he was learning crossbody lead and how to dance online because he was dancing Cuban.
Yeah.
So we basically learned, he taught me what he was learning from these videos and all that, and a group of dancers because he wanted to form a company. And that's how I started dancing on one. But I never had this strong LA style. Like I always looked very smooth. And I remember even people thought that I danced on two, but I was dancing on one because I was very smooth. And I remember I was following a lot. I don't know if you were around the time with anything about salsa, but there was this website called iMambo.tv that it was by Shaka Brown and Gerald Almeida.
Okay.
And basically what they would do is go to the socials in Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago area, whatever, and they would go and record social dancing and then publish the videos. That was basically what was going on. And I remember I was looking at that a lot. And then I found videos from a Congress in LA, I think it was 2002, 2001, and I saw Franklin Diaz, I saw Juan Matos, Vitico, Eddie Torres, Palladium, and I got excited about New York style, and that's how I started. Like, I want to dance on two, and then when I went to New York for the first time in 2002, that's when I saw Eddie Torres dancers, and I was like, oh, hopefully one day, like 10 years from now, I'm gonna be dancing with him. And 6 months after, I was dancing with him, so that was very cool story. It was cool.
Yeah. And if we go a little bit further back than that, when do you think you first realized that you were serious and passionate about making salsa your thing or making it a career, or that you were going to take it seriously enough to want to be in the Eddie Torres dances? When do you think you had that shift from initially? I believe you sort of went to a class just like everybody else. And how old were you at the time? And then how did you shift to being like, this is going to be my thing?
No, the thing is that, you know what? I never thought about it as my job. It was such a hobby for me. It was like awesome. Like I would go social dance every night, and that I could, and I would love it. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about like I'm gonna use that to perform to teach. It didn't even cross my mind. It didn't even cross my mind until people start calling me to take me to perform or to teach. Like that's when it like kind of like like it may be also my passion and my job, and that's where it started. But I think the key was that I never saw it as a business at the beginning. I saw it as a hobby. At the beginning, it wasn't at all, oh, I want to do this for a living. It was, oh, I want to have dance in my life. Always, always. But I didn't see it as a business at the beginning at all. Like, it was just my hobby. Because I'm an industrial engineer, I was like, I was going to get a job. But when people started calling me, I realized that I had an opportunity to either do my career, work on my career, and I was making good money. I could have probably have a good different path, or working on my passion and risk everything I got, and I decided to risk it for my passion, but I decided also, like, if I was going to do that, I was going to be very responsible about it. I was going to treat it like if I was a independent worker, like if I would have to organize myself, I wanted to have 3 months in advance, always booked. If I didn't have something booked, I would try to find out how to get a gig for that, even teaching worship, whatever it was. But I promised myself that I was going to be very responsible with that. And things just I just decided for my passion, and things just worked out for me, and I was happy about it. Yeah.
And I think you're known in the industry for having a very strong work ethic and working very hard.
Yes.
And what do you think it is, whether it's in your background or your family or your personality that's driven that work ethic, whether it's, salsa, you probably would have been the same in another, industry.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it
Mm-hmm.
is that's driving you?
I think that in this aspect, the most important always my dad. My dad always he's a banker. He's been working for the state over 30 years in the state bank, and he always told me that the only thing, because like when you're in politics, they can put you against the wall very easily. It depends on the government and all the changes. And he always told me like, the only thing that doesn't have a price is your word. So like and your peace of mind. Like you always need to, no matter what, do what you think is right for you. Like, and he always have this of thing of being correct, being do the right thing. And he always told me, no matter what you do in life, people always gonna respect you for who you are. And that's how I believe. I try to respect each other and try to work with everybody the way that I would like them to work with me. Like I think the most important thing shows respect is, for example, being punctual. I hate when a promoter tell us, "Oh, you have to be backstage at 10," and famous artists get back on 10:30, 10:40. It's not right, because we're supposed to give the example. And the thing is that in this industry, things kind of work backward, because like I can tell you a few stories of some promoters that come to me. Oh, Adolfo, I'm sorry, can you perform tonight? I know you were supposed to perform tomorrow, but can you perform tonight? And I'm like, sure, no problem. But may I ask what happened? Oh, because the other artists are tired and they want to perform tomorrow. I'm like, listen, this weekend I'm here to work for you. That means that you're paying me for what I'm doing. That means I need to do what you asked me to do. It's not the other way around. So like as an advice, like get your shit together, right? Because like I'm here to work for you. Like if you tell me that you want my workshop at 6 in the morning, well, like I'm gonna do it at 6 in the morning because you're paying me, because it's a job. And my thing is as an artist is try to do my best job, the best work I can do to make your event successful. So that means that you need a workshop at 6 in the morning because you want to do that different event that you have to workshop at 6 in the morning. I'm gonna do it. I don't care if you put me first to perform or last to perform, as long as you respect your part of the deal. That weekend, basically, you own me, right? You can tell me what we agree to, when do you want it, and how do you want it. That's all. And the same time as when some promoters try to take advantage. It still, to me, doesn't happen as much because those promoters respect me a lot, with the years' experience. But also sometimes you have to put them in their place, to let them listen. Like it's not like I'm here to like shake my ass. Like a lot of promoter thinks that you should go and basically dance since 10 a.m., 10 at night until the party's over. It's not like that, that is not my job. So I think it goes both ways. You give respect, but also it's fair that the promoters respect yourself. But work ethics are everything. Like you cannot be a artist, a professional dancer, when you're a professional at all.
Yeah, no, I'd love to ask a lot of follow-up questions. I'm going to try and keep it organized because there's a lot of things coming out, and I want to come back to your sort of childhood and teenage life a little bit and your parents. But on this topic, salsa and Latin dance is a unregulated industry. It's not like ballet or more respected dances like ballroom dancing even. And so going along what you're saying, what do you think needs to happen for the Latin dance industry to take on a more professional and respected position in the dance world?
Well, the thing is that the only way that is going to happen is when people that has the capability to do it decide to do something. In this case, I'm not saying myself, but let me give you an example. Let's say Fernando, myself, let's say microphones. We get together and we form an association and we say, listen, we are gonna give people the opportunity to learn how to teach, to learn this stuff, blah blah. People that other people respect, that may change. But until that don't happen, it's gonna be just eh, because anybody can make an association, anybody can give degrees. I've seen people from even from the bowling world that try to get into the salsa world, try to get to do this stuff, but they don't have the strength to that the follow people to do that. Promoters don't have the strength for that. Promoters can put the artists together, some of the top and try to do something like that, but Tito Hortos too. For example, if you get all those respected artists to decide to work together and to give the approval, and people are gonna follow us. But until that don't happen, I think gonna keep being a regulated community, and that is gonna happen when we start getting older and start getting away a little bit from from this every weekend, and we decided that we need to work on something else, right? But it's hard because it's not easy. It's not easy to do so. It takes money, it takes time, and organization. It's not easy at all. But you see, now with the current situation, unfortunately, now you're realizing, and I'm telling you, I'm sure a lot of those improvised artists or those improvised teachers, they probably are suffering the consequences now because it's in Spanish there's a say that you say I don't know if you know Spanish, but cuando uno es gallo donde sea, no? It means how do you call the male for the hen?
Rooster?
Yes, when you're a rooster everywhere and right. All the time. That's what it says. And now it's when a lot of people is getting a reality check. Because I always say when you have a product, a successful product, when you have a successful business, no matter what's going on around, you're always going to be able to stand by and keep going forward if you have something with substance. If you don't have that, something happens and it's gonna fall. It's like I don't want to get over another conversation, but now the whole world is gonna change. Nothing's gonna be the same after this. Even in our dance community, all these little congresses that they were doing the weekends just to make some money are gonna disappear. All these improvised schools that they were teaching here and there, they're gonna have big troubles now because now like I wanted to do my live online platform for the longest. I haven't done it because I didn't have time. I didn't have time. Like I didn't. I haven't stopped traveling for more than 15 years. Every weekend, even Christmas, and I hadn't had vacation. Now is the first time that I've stopped, and now I have time because I like things to do my way, right? But now after this, a lot of people are gonna realize, why am I gonna go to a congress that has no headliners or no international artists like ones that I would like to see, and when I can study with them for 50, 60, $70 a month. I'd rather go to those events that give me something that are very nice and study from home. And probably now what is going to start booming is going to be the social parties, because now people are going to find out that they can study from home, but they need a social environment, right? The social parties. But I think the whole business is going to change a lot now, even for the artist point of view. I think even myself, I'm thinking of some promoters telling them, listen, this is my cachet, but if you let me do my lessons live on my site, I give you a discount. Everything's changing. It's going to change now. They're going to have to adapt.
Yeah, and that's another area that I wanted to touch on with you. I mean, without trying to guess too much in terms of the timeline, and all the countries are experiencing things differently, but what do you see as the future of physical classes, the future of socials, and the future of festivals? Considering the online experience that everybody's had, with what you're saying. How do you think that will come out?
The thing is that what is going to happen is right now everybody's populating the network with free lessons. Well, that was what's happening. Now everybody's going to start is starting to charge, right? But then, of course, with all due respect, I don't want to be disrespectful with nobody. But now also, we are a professional dancer, professional community, and we come out teaching in platforms that they are not professionals at all. I'm not going to say what platform not because I don't want people to get their names, but it's like me trying to do a class through Skype. Skype is not meant for a dance class, So it's amazing how it shows you how not professional is our community. It's like I know artists. Let's say that they would charge over 2,000 for a weekend, right? To go to work, right? And now they're selling lessons at nothing. Like at $2. It's like me as a promoter. How the heck, when you come and tell me I want 2,000 per weekend, how am I gonna give the money? You just burn yourself. Like why? Because like you're desperate. That's what I think. So we need to be very careful because everybody is feeling it. But in moments like this, everybody's hurting. Everybody's making less money. In moments like this, you need to sit down, back up, think to be able to come back stronger, right? Or to be able to get your game to your strategy well. But you cannot just give away your job like that because you're losing value. That's what I think. So I think as an artist, as professionals, we need to be very careful about it. Very careful because I think like people. Somebody think that people don't see that, but people is not stupid. People is not dumb. I'm sure that you can see when somebody's desperate and when somebody's brand is going down because of that. It's different. I don't know if you try. You're getting my point, but we have to be very careful with that.
100%. There's certainly anyone in the dance industry is seeing their Facebook flooded with free classes, and certainly I think we all get the same feeling, like when it's free and you don't have to join and you don't have to sign up, you just don't take it as seriously. And there are people, there's amazing artists doing free classes and there's not many people attending them. And I find that really interesting, and I think it speaks to what you're saying, that the perceived value of that experience is just, it's not really there, particularly that there's so much of it. And which I think is interesting in terms of how that will reflect in festivals, and congresses, when it seems like you can get access to this artist so easily on your Facebook. Do you think people are still going to travel and spend thousands of dollars, going to events, or do you think there's an experience there? There's the socializing, there's a party, there's a time away, there's a holiday.
There's some things that cannot be replaced. The touch, the fact that I'm with you, I cannot touch your hand, I cannot touch your back, I cannot make you feel what I feel when you're in a class with people. That is no comparison. But you need to think about something. Let's say, had a school in Milano, right? Somebody that lives in Germany. Germany is right next to Milano. Round trip, let's put it €100. That is very cheap. It can be even more. Normally, €100. Cheap hotel, Airbnb, €50 a night. Okay. In 3 nights, you spend €100 in ticket, 150 in hotel, plus another €50, cab, transportation, whatever. You're talking about already 150, 50, €300. Plus the classes, €20 each. Let's say you spend 60, €70, you're already over 400. And you lost 4 days of your job, right? And your vacation time. When you can be at home, spending probably, let's say €100 a month, and taking lessons, like taking 10 times the amount of lessons that you have taken with the same artist every week. So of course people now is going to start, instead of going to 10 events, I'd rather go to 4 events that are like badass events, and then have my vacation time to go wherever I want, maybe to go on summer to New York to take lessons with a lot of people, going on to Milano. So I think definitely it's going to change. I think even the congresses are going to start adapting now. They're going to be reduced of numbers, but they're going to also have a live platform, and they're going to sell the classes after for a week or so. But also that is going to generate other things because, of course, a promoter, if he tells me I'm going to sell lessons live, I'm going to tell not just me, but all others, well, I want a piece of that too. If you're going to sell it live, you need to give something unless you let me sell it live myself too. And, like, everything's going to change. This is just, I see it actually as an opportunity, man, because it's going to be a big opportunity for everybody. It's not, we don't have to see just by the bad sizes, that the sizes of the Congress is probably going to be smaller, but we have to see it as it's an opportunity to make our community bigger. And now that events are going to have to step up, not just to give the hotel, the pool party, and this and that to attract people. Now they really need to have to work on enhance the experience of the event to make people want to go.
Yeah, look, I think so too. I think this is obviously there's a lot of challenges and a lot of people experiencing hardship in the dance industry, but I definitely think this is the shakeup that may not have happened for a long time. Like, the industry has not particularly been as innovative, as a lot of other industries. Even martial arts, for example, which is similar. You need another person. You can't do it on your own.
Yes.
But the level of innovation and globalization and online presence and is amazing. And leadership that's in those industries. And I think this is, just waking everybody up. It's been a little bit too easy for everybody all these years. And now it's like we're gonna have to change things and shake things up. So I agree. I see it as a really good opportunity for the people that are, going to keep pushing rather than just waiting for things to come back to normal.
Yeah, even the conversations with the artist lineup, they don't have to get smaller lineups with more quality to try to attract people instead of how they were doing before. They were bringing everybody just because they would bring more people. But now with everything online, it's gonna be different.
Okay, look, I'd like to just shift over to quickly talk about your mentor, as you refer to him, Eddie Torres. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on your sort of relationship and how you see Eddie Torres has influenced you and how you feel about that today.
Well, actually, Eddie and I have a very special relationship. I always say he's like my second father, and I appreciate it a lot, and I think it's very genuine because it's not a all perfect relationship. We have our hard times, we have argued, we stop talking, then we talk again, then we make peace again, and that's like anybody from your family, anybody that you actually care. Because I believe there's no perfect relationship, right? I always say like your best friends are not the ones that they're okay with you all the time, and the ones that tell you things in your face, right? Even when they know that probably you're not gonna like it. And that's how I describe my relationship with Eddie. But also, he has given me the tools, the chance, the opportunity to live out of my passion because he has taught me everything and hasn't never charged me not even $1, never, starting from the first lesson. So I don't have anything else but to say thank you. And he always coaches me. He always have a good advice. Even if sometimes I may be not. I don't agree with him, or maybe I talk what I think too, and have discussions. But he always has shown me that he cares about me, so I can't complain about that. Actually, I'm grateful. And then I think people, people like to talk too much BS, Eddie is the creator of Mambo, Eddie. Oh yeah, you will be surprised how many times I ask. Also, Eddie Torres, he was in the Palladium, right? And yeah, he used to go dancing with the Palladium. I'm like, well, that must have been tough because he would have when the Palladium was something. He was probably like 3 years old. And people just like to make these stories about it, and they don't realize that what Eddie did for us is he gave he set the basis for everybody to be able to learn how to dance. Putting the numbers on the music, explaining how it's connected, and then put out a technique that was that made people able to dance even if you don't have rhythm. If you know how to count, you can dance. How cool is that? In any part of the world, you can do that. So that is one of the first things that Eddie did, and then the second thing is that he is the right mix between. He's the person that is that train that takes us from the past into the future. Is that connection that we have with the past. So and he's passing it to us, and what now the next generation that is going to have to take that into the future. So I think I just don't like when people don't give the respect that he deserves, and I think we owe him a lot. And I hate when I hear maybe some comments about his style to dancing, when I see that people is not grateful to him, because you need to realize that he's a person. He's and he always said he's always very clear with that. He's always very thankful of that. And like if you tell Eddie, oh, you're my idol, Eddie will tell you right away, oh, listen, I'm not your idol. The only person that you need to idolize is that. And so he has very clear that, and he has that very clear because he has messed up also so many times in his life, because he's human. Because he's human, and people like to put him like. And for me, is that he showed me how humble he is, and how he's able to accept that he also not all the time has taken the best decisions, but still, he's going on with his life, and that's for me the biggest thing that I've been able to know as Eddie Torres, the artist, and not he's perfect and nobody knows him. I got to know him better, and I know that. That he loves me, and I love him, and he has taught me so much. But I also see a person that has been fighting all his life to keep getting better and better, to fight for his passion, for his love. And if we have salsa congresses right now, it's thanks to him too. So it's just that I think he's an inspiration, a living legend, and people sometimes don't appreciate that as much as they should.
And how do you think? And maybe but how do you think he feels about you being the one who's carrying on his legacy, which a lot of us believe that you are, taking Mambo sort of from what Eddie Torres has made it into the next generation, as you say, and you've had a significant contribution, let's say, in making it as popular as it is around the world. How do you think Eddie feels about the way you're carrying on his legacy?
I mean, Eddie always has words of that he's proud about me. And sometimes he has told me many times too, and also I know that even in times that when we have been fighting between us, let's put it that we were in base terms, I always see that he cares. Let's put it that way, right? And the thing is that Eddie has his song too, that is a great dancer. Junior's a very talented dancer, and I love him to death too. And there's also so many other dancers that have helped onto the scene, and I just feel grateful that many people sees me as that, right? Like as the one that is, let's say, take the torch to take the Mambo forward. But the problem is that some people, so some haters, or however you want to call it, they think it's something that you do on purpose. Maybe it's something that they think, oh, he's just saying it. And if you probably won't find ever a video or something saying, oh, yes, I am, because I think that is something that people has to give you. Yeah. It's not something that I can say, oh, I'm the king. Oh, I'm the king of Untu. I'm the new king. I would never announce myself like that. But it's people. It happened to me, like even in events where Eddie is there, and where his song is there, and when other artists are there, that they introduce me as the Mambo Prince. And it's not like I'm telling the promoter, oh, you need to announce me as the Mambo Prince, or not there to announce me as this. It's something that people does spontaneous. So I think that's what matters. Like it's not who you are son of, or how many years you've been dancing or how such a good dancer you are. I don't think I'm the most talented dancers. I know a lot of dancers are more talented than me, but probably they have done even half of what I've done. Because to be that person that influences everybody and that is able to take a whole generation on their shoulders and move forward is something that you cannot just point somebody and do it. It's something that people choose, and people choose that with your actions, with what you do, with what you show. And the only thing I can tell you on my favor is that I live for this. I live for Mambo, and as long as I can breathe, I'm gonna breathe. I'm gonna do what I do for Mambo because it's my passion. I love it, and I'm always gonna say, like my master, my mentor is Eddie, and I'm taking what I learned from him. Even that now I've done it my way. I'm gonna keep pushing it forward. And sometimes, people don't see it that way. When I say people, I say maybe other artists don't see it that way because they think it's something done on purpose, and it's something they need to understand. This you cannot just point somebody and say that person cannot do it. It's the actions, what you do, and what people see and how people react that is gonna little by little put you in that position.
Yeah.
I just can feel grateful of a lot of people around the world that sees me like that. I just, thankful, and that's it. Thank you. I'm gonna keep working hard, to not disappoint.
Yeah, look, it's a sign of respect, isn't it? I think people, again, I always connect to martial arts, which is what I used to do before dancing. And in martial arts, you have titles, and you show your respect to the seniors by using the title, whether it's sensei or master or whatever. And, we don't really have that here. And so I think people come up with these names like Prince or King or whatever, Queen, to show as a sign of respect, as a sign of acknowledgement, of appreciation.
Yes.
And I might just bring your memory back to a routine that you did with Eddie Torres and Eddie Torres Jr. in 2013, which is certainly in my memory. It's there, it's such a beautiful experience to watch, the three of you sharing the stage. How do you feel about it? What does that experience mean to you?
No, that experience meant everything. I'm telling you, like that was we did a review on two Salsa covers, and man, I can't tell. Look, I just got goosebumps. I can just tell you that was like at that on two Salsa covers, and I have to say that year was this special feeling in the atmosphere when we performed, something that you can explain that you never felt anywhere. Just one time, I won't tell you when. And people was just it was like the emotions were on the air, man. People was just crying, like they didn't know what to feel. It was amazing. It was amazing. I can't even explain it. It was so nice because I flew to New York to put it together with Eddie and Eddie Jr. And remember, they wasn't a place of the studio, so we end up on the park and around 11th Avenue, just jamming there. And I remember me and Junior were like, "This is a 6 minute routine or even more. Let's cut it and then let's take it over to Eddie." So I cut the music and everything. Like, oh, okay, Maestro, it's ready. Like we cut it a little bit so we can, so we don't bore people. I put it. I was like, also, what is this? No, man, we want to do the whole tune now. So then, like Eddie was like, okay, start choreographing all the parts. So like Eddie choreographed some parts, and then me and Junior were just jamming and came out with everything, or most of our solo. So it was a great experience because it's no matter what, no matter how many times we have discussed, and no matter how many times we haven't been close because I was living someplace else and everything, they always gonna be family to me because I always say family, you don't choose them, right? And I think it's the same for the Torres family. Always gonna have a special part of my heart. It was amazing, but let me tell you, the atmosphere was awesome, and the only time I felt that again, it was when Mambo from last year that nobody knew that I was gonna perform with Tanya, and we performed Yo No Camino Más as a surprise on a Friday. Man, even my dances, man. Oh, even my dances were crying so bad, like because my dancers didn't even know. So people was crying, was so like move. They really, you can tell that the what me and Tanya meant to the community. Like it was awesome. It was awesome. It was something special in the atmosphere, almost like you could feel it, like in the smell. I don't know, man. It was amazing.
Yeah, these are beautiful moments, and they're so rare. Even at festivals, they don't happen very often. But I certainly encourage anyone listening to watch, those two shows of Adolfo and Tanya, and Adolfo and Eddie Torres and Eddie Jr. in 2013. It's a really really special experience.
Yeah.
And I might just go back. I saw a photo of you. I think you were like 19, and you had a lot of hair, and it was kind of like standing up. And I know, and as I was looking at that photo of you, which is obvious. How old are you now?
I'm 38.
38. Cool. Okay, we're the same age. So that's 20 years ago, and I was wondering, how do you feel about that 19-year-old Adolfo? Who was that guy?
Well, 19-year-old Adolfo, it was all about dancing, the same as the 38. It was all about dancing, but it was a bit crazier, I was thinking a lot about, was my biggest problem always were women, and I was always, looking around, having fun, and I always was surrounded by women, and I got into a lot of trouble, and always kept my dancing side, always was into that. I knew what I wanted all the time. But of course, when I say that, always respect. Of course, I never, I never passed that line. Let's put it that way. But I just wanted to have fun, dance all the time, and the social. I was just having fun, and I used to drink a lot too. Back in the day, in the weekends, and then little by little, you realize that you become, when you realize when people stop calling you Adolfo and they start calling you Maestro, you start realizing, and then when you see kids that come from far away, like from 19 years old, and they want to dance with you, you're like, or learn from you, you're like, what am I showing this young generation? Adolfo drinking with cigarettes, smoking, or being in a corner with sunglasses and drinks in their hands, and or I want to show them that I work hard, that they can be like me, that they can make a life out of that. So the 19-year-old Adolfo was a cool guy, but that just wanted to have fun and dance, dance. That's all I wanted to do was dance. Like now.
Well, it's interesting. Like I'm just thinking. I met you about 9 years ago, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I came to your workshop, and
and
I hope it's okay to say, but I feel I personally, not knowing you then and not knowing you personally now, but then I met you last year, here in Sydney. I feel like there's a quite a different Adolfo there too, from 10 years ago. I feel like there's a very different. This is just totally my judgment and my feeling as a student. There's a different vibe, that I got from you when I met you. I think it was a 2011 in New York festival. To when I met you again last year, and you certainly won me over a lot more last year, which is why I was interested in talking to you. So I'm curious, how do you feel about that growth? Do you think it's just age and you're getting older and wiser, or do you feel like things that have happened in your life have driven the changes?
Listen, I always say that we need to part of getting more mature, right? It's not just about being more mature, but it's also about, I think, if you say you have good eye and you're smart, you realize what you have and you realize what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. I always say the most important thing is to have your feet on the ground. But with this said, that doesn't mean that it never affect me. Okay, that is very important to understand, because yes, everybody's going to tell you, yes, you need to be humble, you need to be humble, you need to be humble. Everybody's going to tell you that. But then how many are really humble? right? And also, so you start realizing, you start seeing, how people react to you, and you start seeing also what you give back to people. And sometimes I have to tell you, sometimes I'm not perfect, and sometimes probably I was, snob, or maybe I didn't teach the best, or maybe I walk into a workshop to show how good I am dancing, or just how good I am. I can dance. I can show people, and I realized that I love teaching, and what helped me a lot was be doing more regular lessons during the week, and I realized that when I'm on stage teaching, I have to be a teacher, and to be a teacher is give everything that you know to people, but it's also not when I'm on stage teaching, it's not about people needs to see how good I am at teaching and at performing or dancing. They need to see how good I am as a teacher. Why? That's a big problem with YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. That we as artists, we know that at the end of class you're gonna have videos on Instagram, videos on Facebook, videos on YouTube. So everybody gets pumped up. They try to do the they're performing there. And I've seen so many artists that they perform better in their worship than when they jump on stage when they're supposed to perform. They don't cut it, right? And the thing is that I don't care about that anymore. It's like me when I do social dance. Sometimes people they go with the camera, they think I'm gonna be doing I don't know what in social dance, and I'm just social dancing, enjoying, and it's like you need to realize where you are. You need to realize that people is there for you, right? And maybe sometimes, like you said, maybe Adolfo that came 2011, just to say, came with the sunglasses, not even say hello, just jump on stage and start teaching. And, I didn't care if people was following or not, I was just doing, and I was cool with that. But maybe to some people, it wasn't polite, it wasn't nice, so I didn't make you feel, you were disappointed maybe of that, in some degree, right? But we have your mindset that when you go into a dance class, people is there for you to learn from you. They want to learn from you, and the fact that you as a teacher give them everything, and give them everything is not talking about just giving them steps or turn patterns. It's about giving them the attention that they deserve, the respect that they deserve. It's that they can see that your whole self is for them. That is different. And I realized that. And with the years, I realized that I love teaching, but I made a promise to myself that every time I'm in a class, I try to give as much as I can to people. Don't keep anything. And I think people can see that difference with the years more and more.
I think so too. And look, thank you for having the grace to say that and to explain it and to acknowledge it. Because I think a lot of people, like you said, everybody is human, and a lot of people experience this, as artists, but also just as dancers. How many intermediate dancers do you see that suddenly have an attitude and don't want to dance with beginner dancers? And this is a normal thing that we're all going to experience. So it's really it's nice to see you acknowledge that change. And I might just touch on another point which sort of came up there, which is the and I am guilty of this, referring, there's your name is also synonymous with the style of partner work that we know, which is crazy mambo shit, right? And we sometimes refer to it as Adolfo material, Adolfo patterns, Adolfo partner work, right? We don't even have names for the moves, we just have your name. And one of the things I know about you, and if you could talk about, was you're Adolfo on stage doing crazy mambo shit, and you're Adolfo on the social dance floor, and the way you treat a dance partner, they're very different. Yes. And I think sometimes from particularly some of the younger, generation, and particularly the guys who are very much influenced by your style, sometimes they can forget that there is, a show, and then there's real life with a real girl. And what would you say to that? How would you help sort of define that?
The thing is that I would say 90% of the term patterns that we even use for shows are social dancing. You can leave them, okay? But you have to realize that when you go on the stage, you go to put on a show, Okay, so you need to put on something, show it's a performance, something out of the ordinary, something spectacular, right? Keeping it also, and you have to think that I'm trying to do something spectacular with Mambo because I don't do anything else. I do Mambo. So like I have more than 70 routines, but we got standing ovations, and we go with against great teams, but great teams that maybe have leaves, tricks, ballet, and dance, and this, and pop, and like we just go with Mambo. That's it. We go with Susie Q's, we turn patterns, and we get that from people. Why? Because I think we are good at putting on a show. Okay. But when you go on the dance floor, first of all, when you do a show, you train a lot. So a lot of my girls are all also trained for doing all those fast turns and everything. When you go on the dance floor, it's totally different. Why? Because the first thing you need to take into consideration is a woman. Okay, so you cannot just break her arms. So you need to first of all see who are you dancing with. For somebody like and anybody that has dance experience, from the moment that you do a crossbody lead with a lady, you already know what she cannot do. So why would you make her be embarrassed by trying to do things that she can't and then just roll your eyes? I'd rather do crossbody leads, right turn, left turn, smile, and move my shoulders, and have fun with her, and then she have fun with me, than doing stuff that it's just gonna be bad for her, And then there's some ladies that you can also go down social dancing. But then on top of that, we need to put ourselves that music is what takes you. So if they put me a romantica, why would I be doing all the crazy shit? Like it's no reason for that. And that's the thing. Like I see a lot of people dancing to music, and it seems like they're dancing something else. That they have another song in their heads. So it's totally different. Social dancing and shows is totally different. And also because even when we do shows, you've seen shows like Maria Cervantes, like Fiesta La Kings, that they are my trademark, and they don't look hard because they're very smooth, very soft. But I invite whoever to try to do the show, and they're gonna see that it's even harder than a fast show. Doing a show like that, it's a lot harder because it's you have to keep the eye of people on you, and to do that is hard.
Yes. So I was just to touch on your performance approach and how you handle challenges that might come up. So if you forget, if you make a mistake, if you do something wrong, and look, you might be perfect and you might never ever make mistakes, but I'd be curious for other dancers and artists, or even students, how do you handle when you walk on a stage and you've done something wrong and it has that emotional impact on you? What do you do? How do you manage that?
The main thing is that the only way that you can be not relaxed, because you cannot be relaxed before you go on stage because you have the adrenaline there, right? The only way that you're gonna reduce to the minimum the probability of something going wrong is to practice. So if you know that you have practiced your stuff well and a lot, you're gonna be fine on stage. Even if there's any mistakes, you're gonna be able to pick up very quick. I'm stopping shows that it looks like my dancers are messing up. Because I know my stuff so well that it seems that like they messed up. Like I'm telling you, my dancers sometimes like, oh, they told me that I messed up, and it was me that was messing up. But I make it look so natural. So the thing is that if you practice, that's not a problem. But that doesn't mean that when you mess up, sometimes you want to do a performance in a way at a certain place, and maybe your partner is not there with you. And you messed up. Maybe it happened. How to approach that? I'm like, next time, wanna kill it. Let me just tell you something. With Arenita, we were in Mexico doing Palante, I remember, and she fell on the floor doing a little trick that we do, very simple, but with fast music, and it was in her country, and she fell. And we finished it. Okay, I was so upset, and I told her, listen, I'm sorry because I didn't practice as much as we should have practiced. for that particular thing that we were having some trouble. When we came back, I told her, listen, we're gonna practice so much that you're not gonna mess up that part ever in your life. And we were for 3 days practicing just that, like for 3 hours a day. That Lorenita literally was crying every day, and like basically crawling on the floor because she couldn't stand up for her legs. And I was keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it was because I needed to teach her. I needed to teach her that we're not perfect, but we cannot allow ourselves to have a mistake like that because we're professional. People pay us to be perfect. People pay us to go on stage and kill it. And believe me, she understood that, and never ever again that part was a problem. And her mind changed somehow in that too. And the best thing that the best approach that I have with something like that we messed up is now I'm gonna train harder. Next time I'm gonna kill it. Next time I'm gonna go on that stage, I'm gonna own it. That's how I go. That's my approach.
And can I take this a similar scenario on a social dance floor? If you start a dance with somebody and you just feel like maybe there's not the connection that you thought, or maybe you have a funny feeling about the experience, what do you do to try and salvage that, to try and make that as best experience as you can?
Well, you know what? The thing is that is I think it's different because of course you try to always be polite, try to make her have fun, or make see what you have on your hands, and maybe try to make her feel comfortable. But the problem is that is a feeling. It's like when you have a beautiful woman that for 10 years, and like your friends tell you why you don't get with her, she loves you, she be the love of your life, whatever, you're not gonna find another woman like that. But you're like, well, for me that's doesn't make my heart pump. It means nothing to me. It's my friend. That's it. It's the same thing when you dance. When you dance with some people, you have a feeling, and with others, you don't. And I'm sure that they probably are a lot of ladies that wanted to dance with me so bad. Yeah, they dance with me. It's okay. Like why? Because it's a matter of feeling. And then some people that I wasn't expecting that was going to have that feeling, and I had it. So as long as I think you're respectful and try to make it have fun, like it goes a lot by feeling, by feeling. Like some people hits you better than the others.
Yeah, you can't replace the magic of that real connection. And how
exactly
how often do you think, like in a year that that you're out social dancing, how many incredible social dance connection experiences do you think you have personally?
I would say trying as much as I do, I would say like every month there's always a couple, unless of course I'm dancing with colleagues I know for a long time, or ex dancers or whatever. But always a month, at least a couple, you can get a nice surprise. Yes, but the thing is that it has grown so much that levels is so different, and also like you said, we probably have more people dancing, but quality of dancing has in partner work in Europe mostly has gone down so bad, so down. But the whole world right now, partner work has gone down so much. Like everybody now you see in Italy, for example, everybody's doing solo shines. Everybody is doing solo performances, group performances by Jeff Shines. And it's a pity because for me the dance is in couple. That's the first thing. Never, not even if you put Michael Jackson again to dance on himself, it's gonna look like a Fred Astaire with Ginger Warriors. Like a couple, it's a couple. It's different. That's for me. That's dance between the men and the women. So it's a pity that the social dancing, the party level has gone down. And of course, the moment that we're going right now, it's not like doesn't help a lot.
No, everyone is doing shines in their bedroom on their own. Well, and why do you think that is? As I've spoken to artists, almost everyone agrees with that opinion, that the quality of partner work is decreasing, even though the amount of amazing teachers is increasing, amount of festivals, the amount of dance schools, the amount of socials around the world is growing, but the quality is dropping. What do you attribute that to?
The thing is that it's not that it has decreased. The thing is that we have moved too fast forward. Like I'm gonna give you an example. Fernanda and I, we share a lot of term patterns. We every time we see each other, we're sharing term patterns or whatever. And we have gotten the term patterns to a level that if you, in a choreography, in a routine, a show, you do a cross melody with a double turn, that is basic. That is like, well, that's all you're doing. And that was part of what from 20 years ago. That was all what artists would do in their shows, double turn, chufla, hammerlock, and that was it. Now we have getting with this drop culture, and we have taken it to a whole other level. That the level of social dance seems like it hasn't gone up. So people is kind of like, oh, they want to do the stuff that we do, and they don't realize that they're supposed to be doing other stuff, So I don't think it's so much the level of social dancing. Part of what has decreased is that we have moved forward too much. Like honestly, and I say with all respect for everybody, I don't think nobody in the dancing scene has that level of power like Fernando Salsa or like we do. Because we really had take that power to another level, and then there's another groups that are getting there, but the level is very high. So we can expect to have that in the social dance. The problem is that people in the social dance, they want to do the stuff that we do in social dance. And it shouldn't be like that, because social dance should be social dance. So I think if the people would do the stuff that they're supposed to do in social dance, that dancing couple will be a lot better,
And so do you think it's a matter of people need to spend more time developing, the fundamentals, the real core of the dance, and not being distracted by the 1%, which is you, and the crazy stuff that you guys do?
Not be careful. I think they're able to do the stuff in social dance. Of course, they can do it, but the amount of hours, the amount of practice that they put to do that stuff in social dancing is not enough. They need to practice more. If they want to take the social dancing to that level, they need to train more to be able to do it. But the problem when you do partner work, it takes two. So really, to take one person to train, might to take two to have the time, the respect, and everything. It's quite hard.
And as a teacher, and you've talked a little bit about growing as a teacher, and that's something, like I said, I really respected when I attended your workshop last year. Where is your passion as a teacher? Who do you like to teach? Who do you like to train? What kind of students do you like to work with? And has that changed over the years?
Yeah, been a long time since I was teaching beginners, but now I'm trying to teach beginners again. Actually, now I also have a beginner course. I like to teach people that is hungry to learn, that has hunger. It's not like I don't like, because when you're a teacher, it's like you don't pick the students, but sometimes, you get some cocky students, that they can probably pick up the step, and they don't realize that I know that they can do better, and that they're not doing it that like it's supposed to be done. But as a teacher, it's that. As a teacher, you don't pick your students. As a teacher, you just have to try to make the best out of them, and try to give them as much as you can, and it's gonna be up to them. It's like I have students that I give them everything, and then backstab in the back, and nothing that I can do about it. And they have students that have been faithful to me like for the longest, and people that goes away and then doesn't even recognize me as instructor. So if it was for experiences, I would have stopped teaching. I would do it just for the money, and that's it. Instead, actually, that helped me to understand that what is my position as a teacher. My position as a teacher is to give people as much as I can, everything I can, regardless of what they're going to give me back. Because I realize that when I do that, I get more back for myself, and I feel better. So, it's not like I have, of course, you always going to have those students that are hungry to learn. But as a teacher, if you're a really teacher, you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose your students.
And I might just zoom in on that, because I think what you described, the experience of potential disappointment or students who have maybe not shown the appreciation that you hope for when you give so much. I think a lot of people have this experience, and I'm curious, how do you manage that, emotionally? How do you sort of approach those experiences as a teacher? Because I
The
think,
thing is that you
sorry, I might
go ahead.
just to finish the point. I think this affects a lot of teachers, and I think a lot of teachers emotionally separate themselves from what they do because they just kind of, they can't handle it anymore. They're, after a long time, they create distance. So how do you maintain a passion and a connection to students while being at risk of emotional disappointment?
The thing that is everybody is a put it like a question mark, right? Let's say you're a student. I give you everything I can every day. I help you out. I coach you. I even don't charge you. Whatever I do, and you're with me all the time, all the time. Then one day you decide to do your thing, but in the wrong way, whatever, you know, went wrong. You don't show appreciation from me or nothing, or you don't even call me, no birthday, no maestro, how are you, nothing. It's like I cannot do anything. I cannot do anything about how you feel, about what was that feeling that you had for me. It just showed me that probably it wasn't the same feeling that I had. Maybe I was not smart enough, or maybe I just let myself go and eat, and you like, or maybe you lied to me. It was everything just a big you were acting, but I cannot do anything about how you feel. So I cannot feel this now. Like you feel bad, but it's like I cannot be disappointed because I don't expect nothing from anybody. I'm not gonna expect that you're gonna give me the respect. Yes, sometimes it hurts when you see, but it hurts, and you're like, yeah. For me, it's like, well, okay, that's okay, that's okay. At least I know that somehow I helped you to get there. But if you are not grateful, if you're not there for me, it's that I didn't mean what you meant to me. So it's your loss, not mine. Because for me, you're always gonna be that. But I cannot do anything about how the way people feels.
Mm.
And unfortunately, in this job, in this life, you get a lot of people that just come close to you to learn, or to don't get to pay or stuff like that. For me, it's just I give everything, and it's up to you if what you decide to do with that. If you decide to give me credits or not, and if you want to be my friend, if you want to be like my son or whatever, that's up to you too. It's not just up to me.
Thank you for that. Okay, and so as a professional and as an artist, as someone who works, crazy hard, how do you tell me a little bit about your lifestyle? How do you manage? How do you balance? How do you stay healthy? How do you manage your time and your family and your day to day?
Well, let's say I start with nutrition. I always, always, always been in diets. Always try to find ways to eat healthy. I was vegan for 5 years. Actually, I'm the one that started putting the thing of being vegetarian vegan in the Fernando set. And I was vegan for 5 years.
So you made him go vegan.
Yeah, I can say no. I made him go vegetarian, and he went straight vegan, and that's why they say, "Oh, I'm going vegan too." So that's how it go, how it went. But the thing is that nutrition is always been important for me, no matter what. No matter what diet I would pick, always was important. I try not to drink. I love wine, red wine, but I try not to drink. Keep alcohol to the minimum. And I think it's the most important thing in a dancer's life. Nutrition is very important, so I try to keep track of it. And also because man, in Christmas, in 2 days I can gain 6 kilograms, easy. Because when I eat like I eat a lot. It wouldn't seem like, but I eat a lot. So I always have to be careful with what I eat. That's first thing. Then about how do I manage my time? That's a big problem because I do not manage my time. It's my passion and then the rest. Mambo and then the rest. And whoever is with me, my family, they have to accept me that way because I'm very clear with that. It's not like for me, it's what I live for that. It's what I love to do. I know that I have this is my mission in life to give to people, and I have to be there, and it's what drives me. And this is the time that I have to do it, so I do it. And I have to manage always to be in everything I have to be, while I keep my passion. But it's the hardest part is the family, because they suffer the most. Yes, that's a problem. Let's put it that way. You know, let's put it that way.
And
so whoever is with me needs to accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I can just stay on that point, I'm curious, and we're the same age, and I have children, and then sometimes I wonder, like, what am I gonna? And I have a dance studio, and I spend a lot of time teaching and away from home, and I sometimes I wonder, in 10 years or in 20 years, what am I gonna think about my current decisions? And I sort of think, will I be happy with myself? What do you think about that when you reflect on a 60-year-old Adolfo looking back to now? How do you feel about that? And I don't know if it's something that you think about, but
yeah. But you know what happened? That for me, the way I think about it, I am like, I may feel bad, or maybe I was like, I should have taken another decision. But the thing is that I'm very stubborn, and I always say, whatever decision I take in my life, and always been like that. I have taken it, even if it was for good or for bad, even if I messed up big time. It was done with my head and with my heart. It was never because pressure from somebody or from family or my dad, my mom, or whatever that tells me not to do something. So I think I'm gonna look back, and I'm gonna be okay with it, because it was a decision that I wanted to take. I was following my passion, my heart, and because I think I have 3 kids. Okay, this is my youngest one, and my daughter loves dogs. I have my oldest daughter; she's 15. She loves dogs, and she want to help animals, right? And I always say that she needs to do whatever makes her happy, and that's the way I try to explain her, why daddy sometimes is so much time away, or why I cannot see her as often as I would like to see her. And I like, because daddy does for living his passion and what he does for his life. And I want you, if one day that means that you need to go away to do something that you love to do, I want you to do what it makes you happy do, because you have to be happy first. Don't think about you're gonna just it's not like you're gonna hurt everybody that is around you, but you have to think for you first, to be able to give to other people that are next to you the best of you. That's the way I feel. And I always want to push people to do what their passion is, but always being realistic. Like sometimes you have talent for something, sometimes you don't. So I'm sure probably I regret some stuff, some time lost, but I also know that I'm gonna be okay with my decisions, because I always follow my heart and my gut. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with. Um, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, because sometimes I have discussions with my family, and even my mom, my dad, or oh, but being Christmas, blah blah blah. I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry that I wasn't there, but I'm okay with it. I don't know. It probably it sounds selfish to you, and it's hard. It was hard for me to tell that to my mom, or even to the mother of one of my kids. Like, I know that it wasn't there at the moment, and I know I'm gonna pay for it, but I'm okay with it, because I accept that too, because I know that my mission is not just job, work, money, money, money. No, it's my passion. Like, people need somebody that the Mambo scene needs somebody like me right now. They need it to. I cannot just disappear. I cannot just say like, okay, I stopped. Like, I'm doing my thing now. Like, I cannot do it, because I don't feel it. I know that is my mission that I have in life. For somehow, I don't know, if you tell me why do you know it, and I cannot tell you why, but I feel it. That is my mission, right? So even when I have with my family and my sisters, and listen, guys, I know I should be there, but I'm not, and I'm sorry. And but you don't feel like like yes, I know, but no, I'm okay with it. But you should feel bad. I'm like, why? You're my family. They took a time to understand that, because I was telling them, I know I should be there with you, I know it's Christmas. I would love to be with my nephews and everybody, and happy family, but I can't because I gave my word to be someplace else, and I have another mission to do over there, and I'm okay with it. Yeah, but you should feel bad. No, I don't feel bad. I'm okay with it. And you need to be okay with it. You need to learn how to be okay with my decisions. Like it's I don't do it because I don't love you. I love you. But it's not what I want to do. It's not why I don't know. But you have to I'm okay with it. I don't feel bad. You feel bad. I mean, I don't feel bad. I'm okay. I'm okay, really. So that's sometimes hard for people to understand that.
Yeah, but look, I know your passion, and if you look at all the greats, certainly of the arts, but even other areas of business, they have an obsession with what they do. They are truly achieve a level of impact on the world through what they do because they are just so obsessed with this passion that they have, and they make decisions based on driving that passion. And so I think look, it's I appreciate your honesty, and it's very understandable, and perhaps it gives all of us a deeper appreciation of the fact that there are sacrifices that the person in front of you is making on a number of levels to bring what you bring to the world in terms of dance. And yeah,
I know it's hard. I don't want to see heartless. Like I don't have a heart or something
no,
like that. But it's like Annelies now was pregnant, right? And she was supposed to deliver by the end of April. And she was asking me like, well, maybe a month before I have to deliver, you will stop traveling. And I was like, whoa, wait, let me stop the car. Like, I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, because you never know we can come before, come after. I'm like, listen, I love my daughter. I want to see her. I want to be there. But we can just stop everybody's life. And what do I tell to all these people that is supposed to go? You can't do that. Like it's like what's gonna happen? Maybe I'm in France, and if your water breaks, whatever. Yes, it's I do what I have to do quick, and I take a flight and come back. But it's not like I can, like I can stop just what I do. I have a mission, like I can just stop what I do. And oh, you're gonna stop for your baby. It's not like I'm gonna stop for my baby. It's not like I'm gonna be there, but
yeah,
it doesn't work like that. So and you should feel bad about it. I'm like, no, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Like I know that it's a chance I maybe get to the hospital when the baby already came out, but I'm okay with it. Like they would get mad and upset. She was getting so upset. Like you're unbelievable. I'm like, I know, but I'm okay with it. And that's it's hard because there was a moment that I wasn't like this, and I would try to, like make everybody like listen to what they wanted to hear, and even if I was keeping everything inside, and what was happening is that I would keep everything inside, then at the moment I would explode, and boom, I would throw everything. So I decided, guys, why? I'm not like that. I don't have to feel bad because I'm not like that. My parents grew me like with love, and they had hard moments too. Because my parents divorced, whatever. So I think I had pretty tough life, but also a beautiful life, beautiful childhood. So I got love from people, from my parents, from my family, from my friends. So it's like it's just the way I am, and it's just the passion that I have, and my goal, the mission that I feel I have, and I'm okay with it. So it's hard on the others. Yes, that definitely I have to say. Like you have to have patience to be around me, but I'm okay with it. Like it's like, listen, I'm okay the way you are. You're okay the way I am. That's okay. If you're not, there's nothing I can do. It's not like people don't change. That's the thing. Like with all these years, I understand that people don't change. People can, maybe shut up, maybe not say something, maybe breathe, and maybe try to deal with it, and go with it, whatever. But people don't change, man. People, the core of the person don't change.
Yeah, they can change.
That's what I think.
People can change their behavior, but their underlying nature stays.
Yes. Exactly.
And so looking into just the broader industry, I'm curious. Let's say you were. I guess I want to know what do you think is the state of the salsa world at the moment? And you've talked about it a little bit, but if we take a different perspective, if you became the head of salsa in the world, and you were the boss, and you could control every school and every teacher and every event, what would you do to bring salsa to a place that you thought was right, that you thought was the place where it should be? What kind of changes would you make?
Okay, first of all, I think we need to make a difference with the shows. That about having 40, 50 shows, I understand as a promoter, because I have many promoters friends, and as a promoter, I can see the expenses that we have to deal with. And believe me, I would love to tell. I would have in Mambo easily. I would have 1,000 more people easily if I accept people to perform easily, and that would be so nice to get 1,000 passes more. And I don't, because I want quality. Okay, so the first thing we need to give people a reality check. We need to be able to tell people, listen, you are not a professional dancer, you are not an amateur. This is your hobby, so you're gonna perform with all the rest of people that do this as hobby or as part of teams, school teams, and we should separate that, because what is happening a lot in the scene is also because we're not giving the respect that we need to give to our professionals. I think that's the first thing. The shows need to change. Need to be the pros need to be even if they have to perform once a weekend, but needs to have their segment. It cannot be just mixed with students and all that. Not because we're a snob, but not because I want to have newcomers and all that, but everything has a process. They need to earn it, and they need to earn it little by little. It's not that you earn it because you pay a full pass. Okay, and they're like, oh, I perform in this congress after Eddie Torres, and they announce it in their classes. Oh, perform, they put the pictures and the lineups. Now they put the lineups. Oh, I was after Adolfo. They take a picture and they put it on Instagram. Oh, this is, I felt good for all the work done so far. It's like, are you really gonna be happy for that? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing. Then, second thing that would change, I would cut with this. Cuba on one side, on one other side, Guaguancó on the other side, bachata on the other side, New York style on the other side. I hate that. I honestly hate it. Unless, of course, you have an event like Croatia, like Warsaw, those are huge events. You're talking about 5,000, 6,000 people in a night, and you have so diverse public that you can have 3 rooms full of people dancing Cuban, dancing on two, that's whatever. But I believe our community needs to be mixed. Like it should be, let's say, a Congress salsa bachata all together in one room, man. Like like they put different salsas, you put like in Latin America, the way it does. Because what we're missing, actually, social dancing, we should call it just dance practice. Because we don't social dance, we do dance practice. Because what is the social dance means? You have the social part of dancing, right? What is the social part of dancing? It's like, Ben, come on, let's go get a drink. Let's go to a bar. Let's talk. How are you doing? All good? Oh, listen, there's 2 ladies over there. Oh, how are you? Who are you? Oh, let's go get a drink. Let's talk about this. We talk. Then, oh, bachata, I want to dance. So you would create a community that is more united. The bachateros, the salseros, and they, everybody will have their time in the night, and that you can actually hang out with people. Like when I go dancing, I go, and this is something that sometimes pisses me off, sometimes it doesn't. Now I realize that, yes, let it happen. Every single night at the conferences, I go out dancing. Normally, out of 3 nights, I go 2 nights dancing. 2 nights always, and I go dancing 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours, depending on how the music, if it's I like it or not. But always I stay at least 1.5 hours dancing. But when I get there, I dance all the time, boom, and then I go to a room. You have no idea how many people tomorrow never go down social dancing. Why? Because I finish the show, change right away, I go dance, or maybe come later and then I dance. And it's like people expect you to be social dancing the whole night. Now you tell me, if I go to the New York room, right? And after an hour and a half, I don't have a break, that everybody's asking me to dance, because it's not a little bachata to breathe, a little salsa romantica, maybe a Cuban song that I don't enjoy as much, maybe timba that is not my favorite type of music. I sit down, I talk, whatever. I don't have time to social. I just have time to dancing practice. So that's, I think, the big thing that we're missing. We're missing the social part of it, and then also um, the instructions is having more workshops, having more people teaching doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to make more money because you say, "Oh, I have 100 workshops." I'd rather you say I have 20 workshops. Yes, only 2 rooms of workshops with quality instructors, with people that are gonna give things that are gonna help our teachers, our dancers to grow, to learn, and to learn things the right way. Not now, like anybody can teach at a workshop in a congress. Anybody. Oh, listen, Ben, I'm bringing. I was thinking I'm coming to your congress. Oh yeah. How many people are you gonna bring? Um, I can bring 30 people, but I will need a workshop and a show. Not a problem. So that's how we sell most of the congresses now. And yeah, so we have in a congress a lot of people teaching that I've seen, honestly, with all due respect, because there's some teachers that they're not performers, that they're great instructors too. So I cannot generalize. But I've seen so many people teaching that I see them teaching and I'm like, are you serious? Like, why? Why would we do that to our scene? You don't see this stuff in ballroom. You don't see this stuff in other forms. In karate, nobody would dare to do that. I come from karate too. I did karate for 12 years. So it's like just in our industry happens. And why? Because we commercialize it too much. Congress has commercialized it too much. That's actually the fruit out of all these frustrations. It was why I created Mambo. That was the reason why I created Mambo. And believe me, I would have so much more people, but so much more people. But I'm not able. I cannot do that.
Yeah, look, I never thought about it that way, but I think your point around the mixed rooms or the separation of rooms these days, it's really interesting because I think back, when I started around 10 years ago and there was no separate rooms. There was just one room and everyone had because I feel like that social part is missing and I never really knew what to attribute it to, but I think what you're saying about the separate rooms is a big one because you miss that, interacting with different people and listening to different music and hanging around a little bit and standing around and talking and having a drink and coming on and off the dance floor and connecting about I love this, I don't love this, or I'm doing that. Whereas it's you walk into a room and it's so narrow in terms of the style and the people that are in it. It has a certain level of intensity, and it's like we're just here, and like you said, we're here to practice. That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
Like, this is serious. Let's have this serious dance because I take this seriously. And I think it's true. It takes away some of that social experience.
And also the fact that you go to a Cuban room and it's all Cuban, I don't like this. And then people start hating the people that dance Cuban or the people that dance one. Why make this difference? It's crazy.
And so how do you think we instill, and maybe this is just a product of, a current, the young generation who don't want to wait for a song. They want what they want right now. How do we instill into people that, it's okay to be patient and hang around for a few songs even if you don't like it? Or it's okay to even dance a song if you don't like it that much. Maybe somebody asked you to dance. And, you don't really dance bachata, but you'll just dance anyway. And, like, who cares?
Yeah. Exactly. But, even though I remember, it's okay to say, it's okay to say no to people if you don't like something, Like, a lot of ladies come to me and ask me for bachata. And sometimes I feel like, and sometimes I'm like, listen, can we wait for the salsa? Because I can dance a bachata nice, but for me, when I dance bachata, I like to dance bachata with my women. Like even more these days because with all these central, like sometimes they ask to dance and they write like, it feels like how do you call it, like an octopus, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like kind of awkward, and it's okay. It's not like you're rude. I always try not to say no to a lady, ever if they ask me to dance. But I think it's okay that we're in a room listening to people that probably don't like, that other people like, because that's what life is everywhere, right? It's like if you go to, if you eat your favorite dessert, right? I love chocolate, right? So I start eating my chocolate. Chocolate is, oh my God, so good. Now you bring me chocolate cookie. Oh, okay, it's good. Then you bring me a bar of chocolate. Then it's the chocolate, and then you bring me a chocolate milk. It's like I don't want it anymore. You know, it's what happening with you when and that's how I feel when I'm going dancing on the rooms that are for on two for one. It seems like too much of the same stuff. You know, it's like salsa has so many faces, so many different shades that why we just keep it to one genre, you know?
Yeah, and I want to stay on this and see if we can, delve into it. Maybe we can solve everything today. What do you, what do you think? Social media's got such a big impact on the dance industry now, right? Because I think a lot of what you're talking about in terms of the festivals and the teachers is a product of social media, because people are becoming popular because of their videos, and subsequently they get invited and they get students, and there's not necessarily a measure of everybody's quality of teaching, of experience, of performing, of depth, of training, and because making a video on Instagram for 30 seconds look good is a very different experience to having the skills to train somebody else to become a great dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think, people can, whether it's artists like you or others, can do in terms of influencing the younger people who are influenced by social media posts more than others, to drive that desire for quality, to drive the interest in more professional teachers, to raise the standard?
The thing is, it's hard because nowadays most people that use social media for dancing, the least that you see is dancing. And it's crazy because for me is so many people and so many women that are against the way that some women being treated in our community. But then you see all the promotion of the congresses and everything. All you see is just women's bodies without clothes. So it's kind of it's tricky. It's tricky because people is using that to sell, to sell. People is using that to sell. It's like for me in Mambo I put all bikinis. That's my publicity. It's normally my marketing, but most people is doing that. Even take a look at all the videos of social dancing. Most of them are everything. Depending how the woman. Honestly, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, right? But how many videos you see of maybe a lady that is covered, with long staff, with loose pants, dancing with a guy maybe that is in shorts? You don't see that, right? But you see a lady bikini dancing, like all the time, or ladies with fitted, dressed up in some way. That's what you see the most. And that's what. And the thing is that what I'm saying is like I said, I don't want to disrespect anybody because business is business, dancing is something else, right? But also you need to realize something. Events now do marketing for everything but the dancing. I don't know if you get me. Like they market the pool party, they market the hotel, they market the extras, they market the whatever is around, and the artist, because artists are a figure. But what about the core, the heart, the center of everything should be dance, right? Instead, it's not that. They're selling something else. It's being selling as a product. It's not being selling as dancing. And I think this is something that it's okay because it's a business too, but we need to find ways to get back to make people feel more interested about dancing than anything else. But at the same time, there's events for everything. There's, of course, if I was 19 years old, I would love to go to some events just because I know I will have a lot of fun. So it's good. We need those events too. But what I don't like is that when everything goes towards that, and unfortunately, there's some people that are influencers, maybe with the amount of followers they have with their films or whatever, and they show some stuff, and it's very hard to control it. You cannot control that,
So how
and unfortunately it sells.
No, you can't. You definitely can't control it. And how do we do that though? What do you think we can do to drive a little bit more percentage of attention towards the actual dance skills? Because I think it's very easy for someone who's a beginner coming in and growing in the scene today. They have a very different perspective of what it's going to take to be a dancer, because they do see the bikini videos, they do see extreme, whether it's sensual dancing, or they see a lot of stuff other than hard training and technique. That's the thing that's promoted the least.
Yes.
And because that's not sexy, that's not attractive, is it? If you're going to say to someone, come and you're going to struggle and you're going to find this really hard, come and learn, so but somehow, I still think, again, I come back to other industries, whether it's ballroom or whether it's martial arts, people develop a passion and they love it and they're committed, but they also have a deep respect for the work that will take, and they have more, seemingly a little bit more patience.
Yeah, probably we would have to separate the communities a little bit, in the sense of doing events like, I think, Mambo Land, that get people, have more events, not Mambo Land, but have more events that concentrate in dancing, so we can have a good balance between both worlds,
And so, and what's your, I'd love to, I don't like to talk about this, but I will, only because I know people are curious around the on-one, on-two relationship, and I find it fascinating. You and Fernando are kind of seen as leading the standard for today. And, obviously you dance on two and he dances on one, or everyone dances both, but that's where your passion lies. How do you guys bridge that gap in the difference in your passion? How do you connect when there is so many people using on one, on two to disconnect from each other, online and in dance schools around the world? How do you guys connect and have such a strong relationship?
Look, first of all, I think we're very, very, but very good friends. We are like brothers, honestly. Fernando, always been there for me. I always gonna be there for him. And I've learned so much from him, dancing wise, because of the thing that he has, because of things that, because of advices that he has given me. But also he has learned so much about me that you can see that both styles, like even if I do on two, even on one, we have stuff. Even Fernando, right? He does push, but now when he does salsa, he uses a lot also of my stuff in one, and I use a lot of this stuff on two, and that maybe the strength, the speed, we always complement each other, and I think that is the best example that we can give. And also, believe me, when I have a new number, the first person, if I want to show it to anybody, the first person that sees it is Fernando. And he tells me, oh, listen, this is good, I don't know, like this, maybe here you can do this or that, blah, blah, blah. And the first person that Fernando shows his new numbers is me. If he needs an opinion, he sends it to me always. And, that means a lot to me, because, and Fernando, I remember, always tell me something, brother, I send it to you because I know that you're going to tell me, because how many people will tell Fernando Sosa, Fernando, this part looks like shit, I don't like it, you have to change it. The same thing to Adolfo Indacochea. So I think that's one thing that we actually like about each other, that we're able to put that on the side and be like, give advice. Maybe I think, Fernando, this looks really bad, you have to change it. And maybe he tells, you know what, yes, I'm going to change it, or maybe I don't. And it's fine. I'm not going to get upset if he hasn't changed a part that I told him to change, and the same thing the other way around. But we respect each other and we help each other like that, and people should know that, because it's like we're in a healthy competition, because he keeps raising the bar, and oh damn, now I have to do it too, and we are always there, and we always back to back, but always helping each other, helping us with jobs too. It's very nice. We have a beautiful relationship.
It sounds very healthy for the salsa scene.
Of course. Like people try to put both sides against each other. Maybe people try to put even against each other, but it's not gonna happen because we've been in this too long already.
So for us, for a student, what do you think is the biggest barrier to progress? What do you think causes people to, quit or give up the most in salsa that stops people from progressing to higher levels and taking a deeper interest?
Well, one is definitely not being able to earn money, enough money to just do dancing. And that I was going to say that a professional dancing is not the one that is a professional. It's the one that can make a living out of dancing. That is very professional, right? That you can make a living out of dancing. Otherwise, you're as an amateur, you're just as a hobby or as a side job. And I think that is one of the things that make people stop. Then the biggest thing I believe is lack of discipline, persistence, but most of all, commitment. When you commit with something, either you commit or not. And when I commit with something, when I see something in the future, when I see it there, I go for that. And I don't ask myself, maybe no, I'm not gonna be able to do it now. This is too hard now. I see that and I'm like, okay, let's go. How? I'm gonna do it this way. Okay, then I have to go. When I put my eye on something, I have to go for that. And a lot of people don't have the strength for that. Also they depend on other people. They don't have the drive. And when you have to do it in partners, it's even harder. Maybe relationship stuff. It's very complicated. It becomes complicated. You've seen that how many dance couples they separate and because their relationships. That's it. For both of them.
And so if you were mentoring somebody to be a professional who wanted to take this as a career and be the next generation, what kind of help would you give to help them avoid these traps? What would you do?
First of all, they need to train every day. People now say, "Oh, you don't have to train as hard. You don't have to show them." Doesn't matter. I train my dancers even if they don't have to dance with me on the weekend. They train. I train even if I have to perform the weekend because you need to, let's say I want to be a dancer, professional dancer. I want to have all my weekends full and perform. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to wait until when I have all my weekends full to start training. Doesn't make any sense. You have to train as if you have that, as you want to be treated, as if you want to have this as a job. Then if I want that as a job, okay, that means 8 hours, 9 hours training every day ready, prepare your shows. I don't have to show you this weekend, doesn't matter, keep training, and then when you get it, then you call me and you let it go. But you cannot expect that, I'm gonna wait first that people hire me and then I'll start working for it. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to work before. It's like me. Let's say now I'm doing all this online stuff and I'm working my ass off. I'm working. I'm working because I believe in my product. I know that to be able to make it grow, I have to work hard now. Then I'm gonna have to maintain it, but now I have to work hard. It's not like I have. I'm gonna wait for people to contact me for the lessons and then I'll work. No, it doesn't work like that. And that's the biggest problem. People want the opposite. People want the calls. People want the gigs. People want the respect, the artists, but they don't want to do the work. They want to do the work after if I get what I want.
Mm. And what about from a student or someone who is doing salsa as a hobby? Something for fun after work, which is how it starts. For everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think stops people from progressing or forces them to give up? The most.
The thing is that when you have it as a hobby, it's all you can do is making them have fun, right? Or making them have their therapy, their moment of relax. I always say that in my classes, like guys, if you are here just to have fun, it's fine, but probably it's not the best place. We want to have fun, don't get me wrong, but we want to have fun working hard. So if you want to just have fun, probably not the best place to be because whoever is here needs to take the class seriously. If we see us, it's gonna no. Here you have to take it serious. Then we're gonna have fun together, but we're gonna have fun together learning uh, quality and discipline. In my classes, I've seen somebody with chewing gum out, and cell phone out. All that stuff is like in my classes cannot be happening because it's like you would never go to a karate session with your chewing gum, or if they call you, you're gonna pick up. Why in my dance class has to be different? You have to respect yourself and your work the way you want other people to respect it. So I always say, if what you want is having fun, just to learn to dance so you can have fun at the party, it's fine, but it's not a place for you. You should go someplace else. If you're here, you want to work hard, you want to have fun, but first you want to work hard.
Mm.
That's what, of course, it's different when I go to a congress. When I go to a congress, it's a mix of people, so you cannot be like that, So you have to be a little more, like open-minded. Let's put it like that.
And what do you think is I'd love to hear what you think is the state of salsa around the world. Like, which countries do you think are doing really well, from a social dancing perspective, and which countries do you think have fallen into a trap of some sort?
I think Europe in general is doing very well. Italy probably is the strongest place overall, because it does all type of dances, or Cuban 1 or 2, everything. Of course, the States, New York is still the biggest one from New York style. Asia is dancing big time. Koreans are getting very, 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 very good at it. I have one of my students. It's my representation in Asia. Inu, he's a great dancer, Korean. And Asia is doing great. South America now is waking up, because South America always had a flavor but never danced online. Like Australia style, now they are dancing. So I believe in the next 10 years we're going to see good things from South America as well. I think Australia has a great scene. Like I love the people from Australia. I just think that they don't have the access as much as other part of the world. So I think if they would have more access, that they would develop so much faster. But I like the energy. Let's say like that. Like, a few times that this year I was in Brisbane, I like the energy of people in Australia. It's very nice. But I can see that they're not exposed very much to a new technique. Like the new dancing going on. Let's put it like that. And yeah, it's gonna keep growing. The important is try to make it grow with some quality. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I'm conscious of your time. I just want to go through a few more questions, maybe some quick ones, and just get to know things. So, a couple of your favorite female social dancers to dance with. Which artists do you just, if you see them, you just want to dance with them? You have to dance with them.
Social dancing. One of my favorites. I love dancing with Tatiana Bonagudo from Tropical, with Tatiana. I love dancing with Jessica Patella also. Well, my dancers always top. Magna too. I have a lot of fun with when I dance with Magna. Then I'm trying to see if I'm not mistaken. For somebody else. There's a couple of ladies in New York also that I love dancing with. Yamule ladies also, I have a lot of fun dancing with them. And then I think I had one in the back of my head, but it's not coming. It's not popping the name. Well, okay. I hope I don't hurt nobody.
And I had a great chat with Magna on this podcast too. That's coming out this week, actually. Okay, and what about if you had the chance to share the stage and perform with someone that you haven't worked with before? Who would that be?
Probably, and it's already we've already been talking about it for 2 3 years, maybe even more, but we never had the time. I would love to do a cha-cha piece with Tito.
Okay.
Tito Hortos, yes, yes, yes. We always say, oh, we're gonna see something. Yes, we're gonna do it, and then we never do it because we don't have time. But that would be awesome. I admire him so much.
And favorite musicians, favorite band, favorite song, anyone that really stands out? I mean, I know it's going to be everything, but is there something where you have like a story or a connection to a particular thing?
I have my connection, a special connection with Puente, Tito Puente. Yes, yep. His music, yes, something else, yes.
And what are you watching on Netflix at the moment?
I just finished watching Ozark. I love it.
Oh yeah,
Ozark was so cool. Yes, and then also La Casa de Papel. You know the.
Oh, I love that.
I think
Money Heist.
Sorry.
Money
Heist. Money Heist. Yes, Money Heist. I just finished the last season. And then I think that's about it. Yes, I've seen a couple of movies, but
Money Heist is fantastic.
Yes, very nice. Yes.
I love it. So is there anything that I haven't asked you or that we haven't talked about that you think would have been good to talk about to complete the conversation?
Not really. Maybe if something comes up to your mind and then you want to ask more stuff, we can do another session. It's been a lot of fun. But just the only thing I would like to say is that like probably you realize this is me. It's a lot of people think I'm very serious. They see me like, Adolfo, maestro, respect. I don't know why people get that impression, and actually, you will be surprised. But it's just I think I'm just real. I like real talk. I don't like BS. If you don't like me, it's okay. You can tell me in my face that you don't like me. I'm not gonna get upset. Okay, well, that's okay. And if I don't like you, I'm gonna tell you too. And if I don't like to do something, I'm gonna say no. If I wanna do something, I'm gonna say yes. Otherwise, I say no. I'm not gonna be like, maybe, Ben, no, yes, contact me later. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe not. Either yes or no. You can do it, or not can do it. It's just like that. I'm that kind of person, and just to let people know that as an advice, whatever they want to do for living, that they try. If they can live out of their passion, that's going to be the best decision of their lives. If they can do what makes them happy, never hesitate to follow their God and their heart. As long as they are responsible, everything's going to be okay. And that is a message for the young generation, right? That sometimes it's hard when your parents tell you, "Oh no, you have to go to university, otherwise, you're not gonna have money, not gonna have a life." And that's not true. That's not true. I've been in university, and yes, it helped, but it's not what I'm doing for a living. And if I would have to pick it another 10 times, I would still pick dancing because I'm happy. I don't feel like I work ever in my life dancing.
Look, thank you so much for your, not just your time, although I appreciate that, but your honesty and your, openness in sharing your views and your outlook on things. I think the idea for this was to get to know you better and to spread some of your ideas and thoughts to other people that might not hear them. And I think we've done that, which is really cool. And I'd love to do it again, particularly once we come out of this time and there's a better perspective on what's happening. I'd love for us to reflect on whether we were right or not as to what we thought would happen in the world. So, and if people want to find you, where's the best place to, access your classes or just connect with you online?
They can connect with me in any social media, but if they want to study with me, with Tanya, with Ameri, with Lorenita, MamboVirtualAcademy.com.
Fantastic.
We have online lessons right now, so whenever they want to go take a look, we're there from there.
Fantastic. All right, Adolfo. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed this, and I love getting to know you better. And I'm just really glad that we were able to do this, and I look forward to bringing it to people and having other people enjoy this chat as well, hopefully. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you for joining me in this conversation, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, head on over to iTunes and leave me a 5-star rating. It really helps other people discover these conversations, and is a small recognition of my work, which I really appreciate. And finally, I would love to connect with you. Please send me a message on Instagram, Felix Ben LJ, FELIXBENLJ, one word, or on Facebook, Felix Ben, or salsa at latinjunction.com.au. You can find all the show notes on our website, latinjunction.com.au/podcast. Until next time, we'll talk.